Now let us study about magnetic force on a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. So we have a magnetic field, let us say in this direction, and we have a conductor here, say like this. The conductor is kept and it is a current carry conductor. So this is the direction of current here. Now if a current carrying conductor is kept in a magnetic field, should it experience a force? The first question is, why should it experience the force? The current carrying conductor experience a force because of magnetic field, because what is the current made up of? It is made up of the movement of electrons inside the conductor. So if current is in this way, that means the electron is flowing in the conductor in this way. So if the charged particle electrons are moving in a magnetic field, then they will experience some force. And if electrons experience some force, that means the entire conductor is going to experience some force. So we'll take this conductor of length L, and the direction of length L, let us take it in the direction of the flow of charge. So electrons are flowing in this direction, so L will also be taken in this direction. And since B is in this direction, so that means this is the angle between L and B. So electrons, we know that they move with a velocity Vd, which is called drift velocity. Now if the electrons are moving with drift velocity in the magnetic field, then they will experience a magnetic force, magnetic Lorentz force of this. Now Vd, we already know that drift velocity is equal to the total distance upon time. So let us say the total distance here is the length of the conductor. So total distance is L, and the time taken by one electron to move from this end to this end, let this time be equal to t. Then this will be equal to the drift velocity, and magnetic Lorentz force will become Q L by T cross B, where L is taken as the vector in the direction of the flow of electrons. Q upon T is current, so this formula becomes this. Now since L and B have angle theta between them, so if we remove the vector, we just take the magnitude, then Fm can be written as ILB sine theta. So these will be our two formula. These two will give us the force exerted by this magnetic field, this external magnetic field on the current carrying conductor. Now if let us say that at any point of time, if n number of electrons are flowing in conductor of length L and area of cross section A, if this conductor has length L and area of cross section A, and there are n number of electrons that are flowing at any given time, then I, as we have already studied in electrostatics, it is equal to NEA VD. N is the number of electrons, E is the charge on one electron, A is the area of cross section, and VD is the drift velocity. So if we put this in F, then it will be equal to NEA VD for I, L B sine theta. This is another form. So depending on the conditions given in the question, we can choose either of the form, they will give the same answer. Now if let us say that this conductor is kept in such a way that the theta is 0, that means this conductor is kept along the direction of magnetic field like this, then in that case, if theta is 0 degree, then the force on the conductor, it is ILB sine theta. Sine 0 is 0, so the force on the conductor is equal to 0. So this is one case. Again, if conductor is kept like this, that means the theta is 90 degree. then force will be ILB sine 90 degree, which is the maximum value of sine. So that means in that case we are going to have the maximum value of force. This is the maximum value, ILB. Now we are going to use this concept of two wires. Suppose instead of one wire we have two wires not kept in a magnetic field, but they are kept parallel to each other. So I'll draw it here. Let us say that we have these two wires, say PQ and RS, and there are current flowing in these wires parallel to each other. Let us say this is I1 and this is I2. So both the currents are flowing in the same direction, parallel to each other. Now when I1 and I2 are parallel, then magnetic field due to I1, let us forget about I2 for a moment and let us consider the magnetic field of I1. So magnetic field due to I1 will be, let us say, B1, and it will be given by mu naught upon 4 pi 2 I1 upon R. We have already done this derivation in the previous videos. Now that means if this magnetic field is generated by this current, then this wire RS will be inside this magnetic field. So this means, and since this wire RS has its own current, so it is a current carrying conductor inside a magnetic field which is generated by I1. So this conductor RS will experience some force. Now this force that is experienced, let us say the force on the second conductor, this force will be equal to I2L B1 sine theta. Now make sure you understand which notations we have taken. B1 is the magnetic field due to I1. So there will be a direction of B1. So if we apply right hand rule, then if the current is moving upward, then if we curl the finger, then we know that the magnetic field B1 will be in downward direction. If we apply right hand rule, it will be in downward direction. So let us say at this point B1 will be in perpendicularly downward direction. I2 is upward, I2 is moving here, so that means the angle between current and magnetic field is 90 degree. So we can say that angle between L and B1 is 90 degree. So in that case, this conductor RS will experience the maximum force, and this force will be given by I2L B1 sine theta or I2L B1 sine 90, which is I2L B1, where L is the length of RS. So if we put the value of B1 here, then F2 will become mu naught upon 2 pi I1 I2L upon R. Just you can solve yourself, substitute the value and cancel out whatever is getting cancelled. Now the force per unit length, this is the force, then for per unit length, we'll divide both sides by L for per unit length, then this L will get cancelled. So force per unit length will be given by mu naught upon 2 pi I1 I2 upon R. So this is the total force and this is the force per unit length. Now what is the direction of this force F2? This direction is found out by Fleming's left hand rule. You have already studied Fleming's left hand rule in junior classes. The left hand rule says that we will take these three fingers, the index finger, second finger and the thumb, in this way they are perpendicular to each other. Then if this index finger shows the direction of magnetic field, then this finger, the second finger, will give us the direction of current. Sorry, that was wrong. If this finger, let me draw it here, these are like this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis, which is given by the thumb, then this will give us the direction of magnetic field. This is the direction of current. If this finger gives the direction of magnetic field, the thumb gives the direction of current, then the force that is generated because of these two will be given by the direction of this. So if we apply the same thing here to find the direction of the force F2 on this conductor, then we will find out that F2 will be towards PQ. The direction of F2 will be towards PQ. You can find out thumb is the direction of current. So we will keep thumb in the direction of current and B is in the direction downward. So it will be like this. So we can find out by using this left hand rule that F2 is in this direction. Now similarly, now we will take RS and we will find current F1 which is due to I2, and you will find out, if you can do it yourself, you can find out that it will be mu naught upon 4 pi I1 I2 upon R. It will be the same as F2, and the direction of F1, the magnetic field here, will be B2. It will be in outward direction because this is the current. So if we apply rule, then this will be the outward direction, will be the direction of B2. So both of them will be same, and that if you apply Fleming's left hand rule here, then you will find that F1 will be in this direction. So that means F1 and F2 are towards each other. So that means they are attracted towards each other. There will be a force of attraction between these two wires. Now if let us say that I1 is in upward direction but I2 is in downward direction. If this is I2 is in downward direction, then both the forces will be repulsed. That is, F1 will be same as F2, but they will be pointed away from each other. So that means there will be a force of repulsion between them.